There's a small country in East Africa that the world has largely overlooked. But what just happened there has left America's tech industry absolutely stunned. Because Rwanda just unveiled something that changes everything we thought we knew about where innovation comes from. It's Africa's first flying car. And it's not some distant dream or a prototype gathering dust in a warehouse. It's real, it's built, and it's about to fundamentally reshape how we think about transportation on an entire continent. But here's what's shocking the American tech community the most. This flying car wasn't built in Silicon Valley. It wasn't engineered in Detroit or Los Angeles. It came from Rwanda, a country that most people in America couldn't point to on a map. And the implications of that are massive. So here's the question nobody's asking yet. If Rwanda can do this, what does that mean for the future of innovation? What does that mean for countries we've written off as technologically behind? In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how Rwanda pulled this off, how they became the first African nation to develop a commercially viable flying car, and why tech experts are saying this moment marks the beginning of a completely new era for Africa.
Today, for the first time in Africa, a self-flying air taxi will take to the sky.
Stay until the end, because the final revelation about where this technology is actually heading will completely change how you see the future of global innovation. Let's start with the basic facts, because they're almost unbelievable on their own. Rwanda announced its partnership with a company called Joby Aviation just 3 years ago. Not 5 years, not 10, 3 years. And in that incredibly short time frame, they didn't just build a flying car concept. They built a fully functional electric vertical takeoff aircraft, an eVTOL. And they did it in one of the countries that people assumed would be the last place on Earth to achieve something like this. But wait, it gets better. The aircraft they built is called the Joby S4, and it can carry 4 passengers plus a pilot. It has a cruising speed of 120 miles per hour. It has a range of up to 150 miles on a single charge. And its battery technology is so advanced that it can complete multiple flights before needing to recharge. This isn't theoretical. This isn't a render. Journalists have seen it. They've filmed it. They've watched it take off and land in real-world conditions. But here's where it gets truly shocking to the American tech world. Rwanda didn't just accept this technology. They didn't import it and slap their flag on it. They became a testing ground, a development hub, a place where the actual engineering and innovation is happening right now. While America was still debating whether flying cars were even possible, Rwanda was already building the regulatory framework to make them real. The Rwandan government created something called the Rwanda Civil Aviation Authority's Advanced Air Mobility Unit. Their job was simple but revolutionary. Figure out the rules, create the infrastructure, make flying cars safe and legal. And they did it. In 3 years, while some American cities are still arguing about whether drones should be allowed in their airspace. Think about that for a second. America invented the airplane, the helicopter, the drone. But Rwanda is the first African nation to operationalize commercial electric vertical takeoff aircraft. The timeline matters here because it reveals something uncomfortable that nobody in Silicon Valley wants to admit. Sometimes the best ideas don't come from the places we expect them to come from. Sometimes they come from countries that are willing to move fast and break things when the things that need breaking are outdated regulations. The Joby S4 can do something that regular cars can't. It can avoid traffic entirely. In a city like Kigali, Rwanda's capital, that's not just an advantage, it's revolutionary. Kigali has serious traffic congestion. Rush hour is brutal. But if you can fly over the traffic instead of sitting in it, you've just solved one of the biggest problems facing urban transportation in the developing world. And that's the real story here. This isn't just about Rwanda having a flying car. It's about Rwanda understanding something that American tech companies are only now beginning to grasp. The future of transportation isn't about building bigger cars or faster highways. It's about removing cars from the equation entirely. It's about moving people through the air instead of on the ground. And Rwanda figured this out before most countries even knew it was possible. But here's the part that's actually terrifying American investors. Rwanda is now talking about expanding this. They're not talking about one airport or one city. They're talking about a network, a continental network, an air mobility system that could eventually connect cities across East Africa. Imagine being able to fly from Kigali to Nairobi in 40 minutes instead of driving for 12 hours. Imagine connecting African cities with the same speed and efficiency that Americans associate with their highway system, except it's happening in the air. The investment is already starting to flow in. Tech companies that completely ignored Africa 5 years ago are now opening offices in Kigali. They're hiring local engineers. They're building partnerships. They're realizing that if they don't get involved now, they're going to miss the entire African aerial transportation revolution. And America is panicking. Not publicly, but behind closed doors, in boardrooms and venture capital firms, there's a realization setting in. The next big innovation wave isn't coming from Silicon Valley this time. It's coming from Kigali. It's coming from countries that aren't bound by decades of car culture and car-dependent infrastructure. Countries that can build from scratch, that can imagine the future without being held back by the past. The Joby S4 is just the beginning. Rwanda is already talking about developing their own electric aircraft manufacturers. They're investing in battery technology. They're training engineers. They're creating an entire aerospace industry from the ground up. In the next 5 years, Rwanda could have more operating flying car routes than America does. Let me repeat that because it's hard to believe. Rwanda could have more commercial air taxi routes than the United States by 2030. And it gets even more interesting when you look at what comes next. Other African nations are already watching what Rwanda is doing. Nigeria is exploring it. Kenya is exploring it. South Africa is exploring it. If this technology takes off across Africa, if flying cars become as common in African cities as taxis are now, you're looking at a transportation revolution that will touch hundreds of millions of people, all starting from a single country that most of the world underestimated. This is what truly shocks America about what Rwanda has done. It's not just the technology, it's what the technology represents. It represents the end of the assumption that innovation only flows in one direction. From rich countries to poor countries, from north to south, from developed to developing. Rwanda has fundamentally challenged that narrative. They've shown that with the right government support, the right partnerships, and a willingness to think differently, any country can leapfrog entire generations of technology. You don't have to build cars. You can skip straight to flying cars. You don't have to build the infrastructure for cars. You can build the infrastructure for air transportation. You don't have to wait for the world to innovate for you. You can innovate for yourself. And that terrifies the countries that build their dominance on being the only ones who could innovate. The Joby S4 flying in Kigali isn't just a vehicle, it's a symbol, it's proof that the future doesn't belong to the countries that invented the past. It belongs to the countries bold enough to imagine a different future and crazy enough to build it before anyone else believes it's possible. Rwanda has already done that. The question now is how quickly other African nations will follow, and how long it will take before America realizes that the innovation revolution they've been dominating for a century is finally starting to move somewhere else. The flying car has arrived, and it came from the last place anyone expected it to come from.